to go. And I'm going to hit that button. Hello, my friends. We are back again after a short break on our Friday Talk Power BI. Good to be hanging out with you again. So I'm back from almost a 2 week long vacation to Banff. Oops. And it was really good. It was really good. I'm going to share some pictures. But it rekindled this thought in me. And that's what I wanted to use as a kickoff topic for today. I'll probably only talk about it for I don't know, 10 minutes, no more, maybe less. But work-life balance, and what is it? How can we approach it? But I want to welcome you, all of you first. Let's see, who do we have on the phone here? Now I realize this is the July 4th weekend. Hopefully all of you had a great 4th, whether or not you're in USA. In USA, hopefully you got to spend some time with family. I did. Went out to watch fireworks. That was awesome. And hopefully you got to do a lot of that. And maybe regardless of where you are. Well, maybe not the fireworks, but spending time with the family. So we have Shannon on the call from our students. So yeah, 10 crowd today. That's good. And who do we have on YouTube? I'm going to say hi to David. It's got a unique spelling. I'll just call it David. When am I visiting India? So last year I was there for a month. I am thinking about going there again this year. I almost want to go every year. Now that's a little bit of a hard part of leaving your country. Well, obviously I left all of my friends, and in India you have a big family network. I left that behind, and man, the first year in US it was hard. Felt like being uprooted and trying to find your roots again. Not fun. But of course, now US feels home to us. But I love India too, and of course my parents are still there. They are actually visiting us right now. They're going to spend the summer here, which is pretty much the only decent time to visit Seattle. But yeah, I want to spend more time with them. So maybe I'll go back this year. Maybe not for the whole month. We'll see. The next year, 2020, I'm definitely going back, because we're doing a college reunion. So we were a group of 7 friends. We would always hang out together. So 2020, we'll plan this reunion, and we're gonna don't tell anybody. It's supposed to be a secret. We're gonna ditch our families. We're gonna no wife, no kids, just us, kind of the college kids again. And it's gonna be exciting. So 2020, I'm definitely gonna be there, most likely this year as well. Jordan says hi. Hotash says happy Independence Day. Thank you. Marina says hello. It's not about the cell. That's Alex, right? Hey. I think it's Alex. It's not about the cell. Kay says hello. Glad to be here. Diego, Jen Nabel, always good to see you. Love to see familiar faces in the crowd. And we came this close to actually meeting up in Chicago, but hey, next time. Manuel says hello. Gauri's here. Manuel says, I know what you mean, leaving your country. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, so Manuel is saying you're lucky you can spend one entire month. My goal, so guys, I'll talk about this maybe here as well, but the odd thing is, I'm giving away a little bit of my speech though. But work-life balance, I don't think it's like a black and white thing. It's like, oh, cool, I found work-life balance, I figured it out, and here's the answer. It doesn't work that way. You gotta focus and refocus, learn and relearn, and as you relearn though, as you forget and you make mistakes again and you relearn it again, hopefully you learn it at a deeper level. It goes kind of sinks in a little deeper. So I have lost track many times, and I would say running your own business, it puts you in control, but that's for better or worse. It's you can make something great out of it, or you can mess it up. And I heard from somebody who kind of gave up. I thought they were doing kind of what I'm doing, but they gave up and they said, "Oh, I'm so tired of this endless, kind of hours and travel and all of this consulting work," and they quit. They went back and got a 9 to 5 job, and I was like stunned. I'm like, "Whoa!" I mean, you realize that when you run your own business, you're in control, of your life. You can create the life that you want. Now, again, that's easier said than done. I have slipped many times. I have found myself like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I call this living someone else's life. It's uh, it's uh, it's not fun, and I've done it for long periods in my life. And again, I catch myself, and then I say, no, it's not what I do. Um, yeah, so my goal, I don't think I've ever shared it like publicly in this big forum, but I'll say it anyway, is to take kind of 3 months, 3 months off in a whole year. And for some, that may sound like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're thinking kind of lazy. Like, what? I don't want to do that. But the 3 months off, at least in the life of what I do, solopreneur business, is not actually, is not actually lazy. It's not that. You're actually a solopreneur is kind of always working, you know, um, because you're always coming up with ideas and you're refining your ideas all the time, and sometimes you do that best on a vacation. In fact, I do think that on my Banff trip, I could process a whole lot, right? So you see what I'm saying. So think about kind of the this creative life, and that's a whole other theory that I have, that creators are gonna rule the world, will rule the world. You don't even need to be a good creator. It doesn't matter. You could be a sucky creator, but you would still have an edge. If you need any proof, go to YouTube and look at the stuff. Look at who has your subscribers, and you watch the videos. I'm like, seriously? I mean, they're entertaining, but there's no kind of meat. There's no content. Now, of course, that's not what I want to do. I want to create something which has meaning, which is deeper. I like cat videos, but I don't want to create cat videos, right? But still, creators will rule the world. So this 3 months off isn't actually off. That is my best creative period, and in a way restorative period. I may not actually even create anything in here, but when you come back, there something else that happens. So by the way, what is creativity? I don't think Manuel expected that. I'm going to dive into here. What is creativity? Um, in my mind, and I think it's the Steve Jobs definition, is just connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. Now, what differentiates an average person from somebody like Steve Jobs? All right, stay with me here. What they can do is they can connect dots which are so far apart in terms of kind of space, right? In terms of time, and in terms of, I don't know, like subject, that are so far apart that it's inconceivable for other people. They wouldn't see it until they're shown. So it's one of those things where it's beautiful when somebody else has connected the dots for you, that you go, ah, of course. Of course, phones should have a marketplace of apps, right? It's one of those things, right? So that's somebody who connected the dots and went boom. So that's creativity. And yeah, so this 3 months off is, yeah, I might travel, take time off, but that can be good. All right, cool. Boy, a lot of folks are on now. Excited to have you here. Da, da, da. Okay, Diego, good to hear you too. Okay, I said hi about that. Who else? Roberto Saltari, good to see you here. Going from Noida for next 2 months on a business trip. First time in India. Roberto is visiting India. That's, gosh, exciting place. So frankly, when I go to India now, I do feel like a visitor. It's weird. Um, and of course, at some point, maybe last year or maybe a few years ago, there was a time when I realized that I've spent now more time in US than in India. But I would say the switch happened pretty quick. Within 3 to 5 years, when I would go back to India, wasn't I just felt like, oh, I left home and I'm here. And that's okay. That's how we adapt. All right, cool. So I'm gonna let's dive into our topic. We kind of talked about this. Manuel kind of led us in work-life balance. So, folks, I'll start where I start. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's start someplace fun. How about that? So how about some Banff pictures? So Banff, I'll tell you the story. Let's see. So in 2003, so I grew up in India, big fan of Bollywood, huge fan of Bollywood, and in 2003, a big movie came out with one of my favorite heroes, Hrithik Roshan. All right, he's huge in India. He's big, and certainly he's big in my world. And I don't have a good shot here. Oh, there we go. Maybe this. Yeah, it's about it's kind of like E.T. but different. It's really cool. Good movie. Oh, you can't quite see it, but it was. So watched the movie, and it's supposed to be set in India, but there was some shots of the usual singing and dancing, and some shots of a beautiful lake. And I maybe I should have pulled up a photo earlier. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. And so I saw that, and I'm like, so they were showing the place which was supposed to be Nainital. I've been there. It's quite pretty, but it is not this. It is not this. So I said, "What is that?" And I asked around, um, and somebody said Banff, and I said, "Hmm, okay." So 2003. Now the odd thing is that we have been in Seattle, which is mere it's like a short hop away. People even drive to Banff for 15 years. 15 years, but we somehow didn't manage to go there. It was all in my mind, and this year it happened. It happened because, for one, I like to do this crazy thing where I book something way ahead in advance, and I love that. So we booked this in September last year. Crazy, right? September last year. I love doing that because that way I know it's set, and that gives me kind of positive motivation throughout. Like from September to June, all the way when I'm whatever is going on, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, June, I'm going to Banff. I was so excited, and it didn't it did deliver. It's a stunning place. So I selected just a few photos. How do I do this? Well, I'll just okay, there we go. I think we do this. Ooh, great. So let's try this. So yeah, beautiful lakes. That's Lake Louise, I think. That I don't remember where that was. Yeah, but everywhere you went, it was beautiful. This, I think, we were hiking in the Sunshine Meadows, and really gorgeous. Oh boy! So this one is is like a 6 mile long glacier. Saskatchewan, I think it's spelled differently, but Canadians they say things funny. A. So I think that was a Saskatchewan glacier. That was really pretty. And by the way, guys, I'm in training in taking selfies. If there are any experts amidst us, then maybe let me know. I need help. So this is me kind of experimenting with the selfie. I have a few stock poses which I think work. At least what I've realized is trying to imitate the youngsters, the younger crowd, is that you don't do the benign smile. Like yeah, that's kind of boring. So you do something different. So this was me trying to do something different. You'll see more selfie misadventures, if you will. Oh, so this is the same glacier, but kind of a panorama shot. It was just gorgeous. We did take a trip on the glacier on these ice vehicles here. This is crazy. So there are only about 24 of these. These things are giants. You can't quite see in this picture, but yeah, the tire was taller than me. Each tire costs a fortune, and the only other place where these vehicles are in operation is Antarctica. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. That's my son. That's Constellation Lake. That was a bit of a hike. Is it? Yes, yes. That was fun. This is Moraine Lake, one of the prettiest, one of the well, I don't know, maybe the prettiest place I've been to. And this exact shot, by the way, one minus my son who's hanging out over here, used to be, as far as I know, on the $20 Canadian bill. So it's called a $20 view, which is, of course, kind of a joke because it is $1 million view. This view is priceless. And yeah, you can see the canoes down there. So that was beautiful. That's my daughter hanging out in one of the logs. Yeah, she's pretty adventurous. This is Peyto Lake. Again, beautiful. Okay, just a flower shot. I was just having fun. Again, this is the Sunshine Meadows hike. This is the Rock Isle Lake. They had hot springs over there, which was cool. Flower shot. Oh, we did some horse riding. This was exciting, crossing a river on horseback. I got such a thrill out of it. Okay, so there you go, my selfie poses. So I know this one, you know, and oh well, gosh, same one. This is Johnston Lake, by the way. Oh gosh, this is me trying some new stuff. Embarrassing. So guys, you see what I was talking about earlier. I clearly need help, and I've seen. I remember I was parked at like I don't know, maybe a Walmart or something, or some kind of a store, and there was this young girl in the car next to me, and in like 5 minutes she did what seemed like 50 different poses and took selfies, and I'm like 50 different expressions. I'm like, whoa, what is that? So I need to build up my repertoire. All right, cool. So well, I guess that was the kickoff of the work-life balance, but it didn't always start off that way. In fact, I've seen the lowest of lows, and I have so many stories of this that I have to think about which one to choose. It's one of those things. So let me tell you a little bit about when I joined Microsoft. So when I joined Microsoft, before that I had been laid off in the financial crisis at WAMU, and I was lucky to find a job at Microsoft, but and I poured myself in there. And I remember when I joined Microsoft, I talked to my wife and I said, "Hey, just give me 1 year, because it usually takes 1 year to kind of cement your place there and just kind of get going." And sometime later, I remember this encounter still, where she said, "Hey, Avi, are you free this weekend? There was something going on with the family, and she needed my help." And I said, "You know what? No, not this weekend. Just give me this weekend." And she kind of snapped at me. She said, "Avi, it's been 3 years." And I hadn't even realized that. Yeah, so I remember my promise of, "Hey, just give me 1 year," but it had been 3 years, and I just poured myself into work. This was also the time. So as I joined Microsoft, my daughter was born along the same time, and it was yeah, I kind of missed out on those 3 years pretty much. I just wasn't around. And again, I've talked about this before, and I don't want to paint in broad brushstrokes. Microsoft, I did change my organization within Microsoft after that, and things did change. But at least the first 3 years, the unit that I was in, I remember walking into a meeting at 7 p.m. So this was interesting. So my manager nominated me for this meeting. So he said, "Avi, I'm going to be out. There is this senior executives meeting or whatever, da da da, and you're going to represent a group." And I was so proud of myself. And oh boy, yeah, I get to represent my group. So I walk into that meeting at 7 p.m. And by the way, we were of course in Seattle, but we were working with a development team in China. So I walk in at 7 p.m. and I'm like giddy. I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here, guys. I'm so excited." So I ask one of the other managers. I say, "Hey, so Leo sent me, my manager. He sent me from a group, and he said it starts at 7, but I don't know when it ends. Like, so how long is this meeting?" And kind of everybody laughed at me. Everybody, well, they didn't laugh at me, I guess, but they started laughing. And the answer was, "As long as it goes." And again, Microsoft is a company of companies. You go to a different group and it can change your life. I did. I switched to a different group, and everything changed. It was not this dynamic, but at least for the first 3 years, this was the dynamic. You sent an email at 12 midnight, you would get a response, you know, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So sometimes I would like finish all my work, send an email off at 12 midnight, and then you know how it works when you're working that hard, you kind of need to relax or unwind. So I would be watching Netflix, and like, okay, I'm gonna watch, and my phone pings. I'm like, oh shoot, they responded, and then I'm reading it again, and it was very different. And folks, again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I have so many stories here around different phases of my life. Um, there was a time when my wife would visit me in the office to meet me, and then she would go back home, and then I would go back to work. And this was after we had just gotten married. And again, there's a treasure trove of the story, so I wouldn't go there. So I have seen the lowest of lows. It's not all be in Banff vacations all throughout month-long vacations, right? So it's I've seen that. I've seen that life. But let's switch gears a bit, and I'll share one of my favorite quotes. It didn't start off that way, but I remember when I was driving to work to Microsoft one day, I was listening to the radio, and they were interviewing like a CEO or yeah, she was a CEO of some company, I forget which. By the way, if you can find the source, I would definitely love to thank this lady. So they asked her a lot of questions about leading the organization, data, all of that sort of stuff, and then they talked about work-life balance, and she said, "I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean." Right? You bring your whole self to work, and you bring I messed it up, and you bring your whole self home. It's not like I'm two different persons. I'm not like split between work and personal life. And I actually did not understand it. For the life of me, I mean, I'm being totally candid here. Maybe you hear it and you get it, but I didn't get it. And I and I said, I don't know what she means by that, right? So, but the good thing is, it was parked away somewhere in my brain, and I did get it. I did get it when I left Microsoft, because as long as I was at Microsoft, there was this life divide. Work life divide. There was this work Avi, and there was the kind of personal at home Avi or leisure Avi, whatever, right? And of course, I realized that my drive to work was this switch. I would be in this home mode maybe, and slowly, in the morning, how you transition from you already start thinking about work, you check your email, and you're in that mode, and as you drive there, you're now this work Avi, and you behave differently, right? I mean, we don't behave the same, and then you come back and you switch. You drive home. You're still thinking about work, maybe, but hopefully you can push it out of your mind. And then home, you playing with the kids and all that. So there was this stark divide. They were two different people, and that's why I didn't understand what she meant. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. But of course, when I left Microsoft, that vanished. I was not driving, by the way. I mean, behind the screen, this is an IKEA screen, IKEA roller blind. I'm in my bedroom, or as one of my students likes to call it, the Learn Power BI worldwide headquarters, right? So I'm hanging out here. There's no drive, and it's different. So initially, it was funny how the transition happened, right? So you start kind of working from home, and it disappears, and you start doing a lot of YouTube. And the challenge with video, my friends, is that you can't pretend anything. It's got to be you. And frankly, if you do it for a little bit of a long term, then you got to be you. You can't have this, oh, this is the work Avi face, oh, this is the YouTube Avi, and it's the personal Avi. No, right? I mean, you just get on there, it's like you just be Avi, right? So that stripped a lot of stuff. And initially, so as I said, I'm in my bedroom, so sometimes my desk is my bedroom, I guess, and my daughter would walk in, and I would be so embarrassed because I didn't want to give it away to my clients, to my students, whoever I was working with then, that I was kind of in my home, not in a professional setting, and I would be like really embarrassed. I would like shoo her away. But now when she walks in, it'd be funny if she walked in right now. I say hey, and I say hey, say hi to Matt. I'm talking to Matt. He's in Australia, right? So just stripped it all away. But then I realized what this lady was saying. That thing was a myth to begin with. We You're deluding yourself if you think of life this way. Now let me put it this way. I want you to think about your best years at work and your best years at life, I guess, right? Now, I don't know about you, my friends, but uh, let's see. Oh, I should share my screen here. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure I check. Okay, good. All right. when I have had the best years at work, like everything worked. I had a great manager, amazing manager. He was so awesome. I had so much to learn from him. He was so supportive. I was doing great at home as well. Right? I would come back with a lot of energy, and yeah, I would just be a better husband, a better dad, better person. What about best years of life? And again, the personal life stuff also goes up and down, and that's okay. That's life. But when things were really working, right? When things were really working at home, I was happy at home. Guess what? I was putting out my best work as well. So there isn't a divide. In fact, I have come to um, really really challenge this work-life balance terminology, because work-life balance always makes me think of like I'm walking on a tightrope, right? I'm just oh man, I'm losing my balance again. And again, if you think about it that way, work-life balance, the challenge is that it implies, and again, folks, words are powerful. The words that we think, the words that we use to think and speak, they define and create your life. Don't take that lightly, right? So work-life balance is bogus because it always makes you think of that tightrope, and what that seems to mean, right? So this is how you're gonna start defining your life if you're not careful. Is that if I want to succeed at work, oops, oh gosh, I should stop playing with that. Then I need to take away from my personal life, right? That's the way that okay, so ignore the strike through. I don't want to mess with that, right? So if you go with this belief system, you're gonna live your life this way. You're gonna assume that, and think, boy, I mean, I didn't even actually connect the dots. That is what I was doing. Like, why else? Where did that thing go? Why did I ask for my wife? Okay, I didn't write it down, but only with that thought system would I ask my wife to give me 1 year, because my belief system was this, that it's a tightrope thing. If I lean more towards work, I'm automatically taking time away from my family. That was my belief system. So work takes away from family, personal life, whatever. And if you focus more on your personal life, then that takes away from work. Have you ever felt guilty when you are not working? I I have, but you realize you shouldn't. Right? And so that's not the reality. That's not the world that I want to live in. And again, our world is created by our belief systems. So I challenge this belief system, my work-life balance, and I want to buy into what this lady was saying, that you bring your whole self to work and you bring your whole self home. So if it's not work-life balance, then what is it about? Oh gosh, I really got in trouble with that strike through. Okay, then what is it about? So if not that, then what is it about? Now, we do want something. So again, if you remove this work-life thing, what I would say is you can simplify it, and you can just say, I do want a better life. Every one of us should strive for a better life. And again, this is both now. This is work and life and personal and all of that. It's all a blended thing, right? You're the same whole self. Well, I hope you do want a better life. Everybody does. Everybody does. Actually, yeah, we can safely assume that. So you want a better life. Then how do you go about it? I want a better life at work. I do want to perform better at work, and I do want to, do fun stuff for myself, take, family and so forth. What is it about? And I think the clue was again in this statement. It was hidden in here. It took me some time to unravel it, to connect the dots really. So I was listening to somebody else and I connected the dots to here. You see how kind of ideas work, how creativity works. So I hope this is creative. I think it was. So can you read this sentence and can you see what is it about? So I'm just going to read it out loud. You bring your whole self to work and you bring your whole self home. You see the word says repeating. Do you see it? I'll get rid of you, your whole self home. It's it's you, right? So that's simple, but we ignore that. People don't always pay attention to yourself. So having a better life, it starts with a better you. Starts with a better you. The better you are, the better you're gonna be at work, and the better you're gonna be a better husband, a better dad, everything, right? Now, there's frankly, this better you. This almost has been my quest since I left Microsoft. For a long period, I didn't realize it. I was thinking all I needed to do was make money. But over time, I've realized that this is this is the part that is more important. In fact, there's a quote that I read on a calendar at our local grocery store, um, and it said, "The inner journey is the only one worth taking," or something like that. I'm probably messing it up, but yeah. So there's been this inner journey about finding this better me, and of course there's been this being outer journey of gaining subscribers, creating videos, getting students in the program, and all that sort of stuff, right? And again, it's kind of hashtag backwards. People think that once I get that outer success, then I'll feel successful inside, happy inside. But it's backwards, as I've realized. So the inner journey is a more important one. When you start feeling abundant inside, that starts reflecting in your outer world. And it sounds woo woo, but there's a whole scientific basis behind it. I wouldn't go into that right now. So, guys, this is important. Now, and there's so much here that I've explored, but I want to give you just one piece, but it is the most important piece. So again, if you're looking for a better life, a better work-life balance, which we've talked about doesn't quite exist. So if you're looking for a better life, it starts with you. Oops. Hold on. So how do you create a better you? Again, there are lots of different things, but I want to give you just one. Better you. So this is something that I kept hearing from all the experts that I follow in very different realms. Some of them were coaches, some of them were like mindset gurus, some of them are just entrepreneurs and so forth. But they a lot of them talked about this morning routine, and finally I said, well, if so many people talk about it, let me focus on this. So folks, I'll start with one of my gurus back, and he's still with Microsoft, I think, James Whitaker. If you are if you get a chance to hear him speak, he does have some content online and not as much as I would like him to put out. He does have books on Amazon as well. It's most powerful to hear him speak. He's basically, that's his thing. He's a speaker and he owns the stage. He's unbelievably good. And he had this line which I love, which basically said, "Don't start your day with email." And of course, email is now replaced with like Skype for Business, Teams, Slack, whatever your organization is using, right? So substitute email with whatever that is. So he says, don't start your day with email, and email has other people's priorities. Boy, it just blew me away. People's priorities. It doesn't have your priority. So email has this person wants this, da da da, all of that sort of stuff. Worst way to start your email, right? So I know it may take some unlearning, right? I mean, it's habitual. You reach for your phone; it's right next to your bed, isn't it? Other people have talked about it too. Simon Sinek joked about it in a Simon Sinek, of course, the one of the most popular TED Talks, Start With a Why, one of my favorite ones. I've mentioned it a few times. I've also read his book. I will also recommend the book, although the speech is incredible. His TED Talk. So he had this joke about that. Dude, if you're struggling with the habit of the phone, he said, I would buy you a $10 alarm clock. All right, so don't put your phone next to your bed. But yeah, don't start with that. It's other people's priorities. So again, if better you creates a better life, right? If you're better, you're going to perform better at work, you're going to be better at home and everything kind of in your personal life, then shouldn't that be the first thing? So again and again, right? I mean, a lot of these dots connected because these people are starting to talk about morning routine, which essentially is all about taking care of yourself. And of course, these other dots that I had. So morning routine is important. Hopefully, you're kind of convinced in there. So what does morning routine can look like? Actually, this can be whatever you want. Seriously, it can be whatever you want as long as it's 100% selfish. And guys, it it's good to be selfish because my theory is, and I've seen this practice as well. Unless you can take care of yourself, you cannot take care of others. So you know how in airplane they talk about the oxygen mask falling down, and they say, hey, before you help anybody else, even your kids, there's nobody in your life you love more, even yourself, than your kids, right? You would I know I would put myself in danger every single time if it meant protecting my kids. But again, the advice is that you put your oxygen mask first before you help your kids. Because love isn't a factor here. If you're passed out, guess what? You're not helping anybody. Same way here. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody. Not your colleagues, not your team, your organization, definitely not your wife and your kids and your family around you, right? So so you got to take care of yourself. So this can be anything you want. I'll give you some examples. So there was one lady who did this dancing. She would just put on music and she would dance for, and it doesn't need to be long. So don't give me that excuse. This can be 5 minutes. This can be 5 minutes, seriously. So she did dancing. I'll tell you a little bit of my routine. So the way I think about it, there is this kind of the physical, there is spiritual, and I think there's emotional. Maybe there are other aspects, but I'll just cover this. So physical, I don't quite do this every day right now. I would like to, but Wednesday and Saturday, and these days are set because I have a gym partner, which is my son. I go and work out there with my son. Believe me, it's one of the I love it. I love it. So I go to the gym with my son and I work out with him. And so that, and what I'm trying to do is also on other days, and this isn't actually happening right now. I do have a stationary bicycle. Maybe I do that. Maybe I do cycle. I do love doing yoga as well. And I might do that. So, and just this will be just at home, so I can do it kind of really quick. So possibly every day I'm working towards that. Spiritual. This is, I believe, the most important stuff. Hey, you want to say hi? Okay, shoo. Okay, my daughter just walked by. Okay, so spiritual, I think, is the most important. Mm, 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 because that is the true you. All right, so spiritual is the most important. So I do meditate, and you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for longer. I try to do it for 15 minutes. 5 minutes are still good. Frankly, even if you do it for 60 seconds, it is still powerful. In fact, the 60-second version you can do throughout the day. And so in our team meetings, we start with 60 seconds of silence, and I just tell them you can meditate any way you want, right? So I do this. You can also kind of listen to something spiritual. That's okay too. And yeah, I kind of center myself. And frankly, even in the team meetings, we take 60 seconds, and I feel so much positive for the whole meeting. I mean, I bring my best self to that meeting just with that 60-second break. So yeah, this stuff is powerful. Now, how do you meditate? You can go out and learn different techniques, whatever works for you. Most of the techniques that I've come across involve breathing, and that's okay. Breathing somehow, well, it's core to our existence, so it's a good place. It's a great, it's a great way to meditate. So there are lots of different things you can do. I have a few different techniques. The one that I picked up most recently is, and oddly, the people who were talking about morning routine, a few of them mentioned box breathing. Box breathing. And first I heard you hear this word and you feel like, oh, I put my head inside a box and breathe inside there. It's like breathing into a paper bag or something to calm yourself down. It's not that. It's a different technique. Maybe and yeah, just check box breathing. There are lots of good videos here. I don't have to explain it here. So box breathing, I do that, and and I love box breathing because it's really simple. And box breathing doesn't have this challenge that other meditation has, which is your mind starts wandering. Box breathing, frankly, is just it's you can wander a little bit, but it's frankly it's a little bit demanding, but which is good. Actually, you know what? Let me talk about the technique. So so again, you're not breathing into a box. You create a box with your breath. So what you do is let's do, and you can do this with me if you like. You breathe in for, let's do 4 seconds. You breathe in for 4 seconds. You can just count in your head: 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, or just 1, 2, 3, 4. So you breathe in, and then you hold for 4 seconds. At the top of your breath, you hold for 4 seconds. And again, you're counting in head. And then you let it go. You breathe out for 4 seconds. Right? So you're down here, and the bottom of your breath, you hold again. Now your lungs are empty, and you hold it for 4 seconds. And then you go back up again. So you see how it makes a box. You breathe in, you hold, you breathe out, and you hold. Right? So that is the box that they're talking about. This, by the way, this wasn't invented by Navy SEALs, but this is used by Navy SEALs. And I'm like, dude, if there's something that can improve their performance in their conditions, shit, it can definitely help me. Right? So, and again, I mean, a lot of these people are talking about it. I mean, these guys are like, yeah, I mean, they run big companies and they talk about box breathing. So box breathing I like. And again, as I said, it is so involved that you don't have that other problem where your mind wanders. A lot of other meditation techniques, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating, but I'm off thinking about work or personal life or whatever. But box breathing is like, and of course you're going to do the eyes closed. So yeah, it's involved. Now, of course, I would recommend you start with 4 seconds. But if you can work up to 7 seconds, that is awesome. Now let me tell you what, kind of under the hood of box breathing a little bit. So again, 4 seconds is going to be good for you. It's meditating. It's going to bring everything in line. It's going to bring the focus on you. So that's all good. But if you can work up to 7 seconds, you get this other level of benefits. Now, a challenge in our modern lives is that we haven't, right? Our world has changed so much, but we haven't quite evolved as much. We're still living with a very primal brain, or large parts of it are very primal, and they kick in often in the wrong moments. So, classic challenge is fight or flight, right? This kicks in. So, if in a stress situations, this kicks in, fight or flight syndrome, and that's a worst thing because in our modern world, let's say you're going up for a presentation or it's an important meeting, this doesn't help. This helps you when a tiger is about to attack you or something, right? This doesn't help. In fact, the opposite of this helps. When you go into fight or flight syndrome, then your logical thinking shuts down. There is no time for logic when there's a tiger staring at you. It's fight or flight, right? It's got to be quick. So the logic part's shut down. And of course that's not good in our stress situations. So now I don't run around with any tigers. A meeting, something, whatever, something is going on, a client meeting, presentation, anything else in personal life as well. So this is not good. So if you can work up to 7 seconds, what happens at the bottom of your breath when your lungs are empty? Obviously your body is gonna start to get into fight or flight. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath, right? So that thing kicks in, the primal brain kicks in. But again, if you can work your way up to 7 seconds, then it's continuously conditioning the fight or flight, and you're saying no, it's okay. So again, and that you see why Navy SEALs do it. So obviously they're about to charge into a room. Yeah, they might take enemy fire. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So highly stressful situation, but they can't be this fight or flight mode. I mean, they gotta be in control of yourself. They can't be. So that thing kind of helps as well. So spiritual, I would highly recommend that. Physical, as much as you can incorporate. I'm still working on that. Emotional, I think the spiritual piece does help emotional as well. There's some other stuff that I do for emotional. Emotional for me is mostly throughout the day, and this is more, uh, and 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 this, we have this thing where feelings and thoughts, and it's kind of cyclical. So when you're feeling low, of course you're gonna have bad thoughts, right? But you you sometimes bad thoughts can, or I don't really call them good or bad. I call them empowering. Are they empowering thoughts, or they disempowering? What are they doing? Are they taking power away from you? Then they're disempowering. So if you have disempowering thoughts, you can end up feeling low. But the opposite is true as well. If you're feeling low, and if you can switch your thinking to empowering thoughts, you're gonna start feeling good, and so forth. So again, taking care of you, and there is another belief system here, is that you might think that I cannot control my thoughts. I don't control my thoughts. They're automatic. And my friend, you do need to change that, because you do. Me, I am not my thoughts. I am above that. I'm beyond that. So if I'm not my thoughts, so again, I'm often we equate our thoughts like, oh, I thought that, that's me, but yeah, it doesn't work that way. All right, so I didn't do justice to this part. It's a whole topic in itself. But yeah, that's do you have a big finish here? um, Hold on, let me go back. Actually, I don't have a big finish. Sorry, I let James Whitaker down. He talked about this. He said stick the landing. But folks, that's it. That's what was on my mind as I was spending time in Banff with my family. And again, this is something that, and again, it's not something that I've solved. It's not black and white. It's not, oh guys, I'm perfect now. No, I there are still times that I struggle with this. Maybe, yeah, maybe quite often. But again, it's just it's kind of like going to the gym, right? I mean, you can't just say, "Yep, I went to the gym once and I'm done," right? I'm fit now. You got to keep doing it. So it's something that you gotta keep practicing, and you learn and relearn. And if you find yourself off track, just bring yourself back. So hey, I want to thank all of you for letting me share this with you. And as I've said, the inner journey, this journey has been far more important, if you think about this, than learning a DAX function and so forth. That stuff feels important, but it is important. But everything that you learn in this outer world is worth nothing if you do not also go on the inner journey. It just doesn't get you anything. Awesome. Let's see what you guys had to share. Yeah, Mukund is saying yoga is now recognized by the world. Yeah, and it's funny thing is that America has almost Americanized the whole thing. I mean, the first time I walked into hot yoga, actually, I've only done it once. I didn't quite like it. I was like, "What is this?" so, but yeah, it almost doesn't matter. Yeah, what you do, but do something for yourself. As I said, one person just does dancing. Um, Oh wow, NJ Gaming. It seems we have a family connection. That's great. I love that. Um, Steve Jobs was a genius. I definitely respect that person. And if you've read his biography, which actually I haven't, it's sitting on my desk. I'll read it someday. But the man was not without his faults. But I do believe that it's I don't know. I feel like we focus so much on perfection, but it's not it's the I don't see it that way. I feel like our imperfections are what us makes us human. Maybe that's what makes us perfect. And again, it's not about kind of black and white. It's not about, oh, he did everything right. Everybody is on kind of journey, and can we get better every single day? And I love that. I don't know if it's a quote, but that idea that if you got better every single day, oh my gosh, where would we be in a year, in 5 years, at the end of our lives? What kind of life would that be? Um, right. So yeah. So he certainly has a lot to teach us. Mm, Jen, did we? Oh, July. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Did I? July 5th. Somebody was paying attention. That's great. Cool. So, are you ready to switch? All right, let's talk about Power BI. So, yeah, let's see if you have any questions. I wouldn't be able to stay too long because my family, my parents are here, my brother is here too. But I want to take at least a few questions if you guys have any. Let's see. Let's go here. So, folks, let's do this. If you have any questions, type them in, and maybe we will also open up the phone lines really quick. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Noah is on. Hey, Noah, a great resource for the interior journey and how it relates to work. Jerry Colonna, former tech entrepreneur. Love that. And yeah, so that's interesting, Noah, that you brought that up of like a former entrepreneur. So there's this. Uh, I'll definitely. Can you really bring up? Whoa, that is uncanny. So I know the lady who said it in the interview that I remember. What it was a lady. Jerry doesn't sound like a lady. Um, maybe the person that I heard it from Jerry or the other way around. But wow, I'm really intrigued. Wow. Oh, it's a short thought, but yeah, Jerry Colonna certainly seems like some guy I want to follow. But there is this so love yourself book. Let's find that. So there is this book I would also recommend. Love yourself like your life depends on it, and it's got this weird picture and kind of a weird title. Not something that I would pick up, but I'm glad I did. And he's also I think he's like a serial entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, but he went through some tough times and self discovery in a journey, and he wrote about that and in somewhere in there he talks about I want to go to that he in the what is it called, the forward epilogue, something like that, prologue, messing it up. All right. What he talks about is that he felt how hesitant he felt in writing this book because the whole world knew him from his, this his outer identity, right? This entrepreneur, but he had been on this crucial inner journey, which again had helped him in this outer world. Um, but he felt hesitant. He said, like, you have the same fears everybody does. Like, people are going to laugh at me. They think I'm going to joke. They're going to get, like, what? I thought you were an entrepreneur. You're this love yourself stuff, come on, So, but I think one of his friends did encourage him to write it. And again, with the same theme that it's that stuff that is more important. He said, come on, like, so this one is one of my favorite books too. And by the way, this book is where I get a lot of my this emotional, this throughout the day. How do you support yourself through this journey? How to be a better you throughout the day, and that has some really simple but really effective exercises. So I would recommend that too. Cool. So let's see if Power BI question came in. If not, I'll open the phone lines really quick as well. See if somebody wants to call in with a question. So phone lines are open. Oh, for a very short time. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay. Cool. Oh, that didn't work. That work? Nope, that didn't work. And there we go. All right, so that should be coming up. What else? Boy, so folks, on a little bit of a different news, I should probably mention it at the to begin with. We are really excited to have a new batch. New batch. We have a so announcement. Let's try that. Announcements. So we're still with. So this. So we had started off this Pro Plus program, the full name being Six Figures Power BI Professional. That's a little mouthful, so we just call it Pro Plus. This was started back in February, actually. So we announced it in actually December. We had interviews in January, and February we kicked it off. It was originally supposed to be a 3-month program, but we extended it. So that ended from Feb to July, and we're still working with that batch of students, and of course, Noah is one of them. You've heard me speak about him. You've heard him present at the Real Power BI, but we have our new batch as well. And folks, I was pretty blown away this time. And man, it's you meet these people and you hear their amazing stories, and it just fills my heart. I can't even name the emotion that it fills with, but it my heart, it feels full. And by the way, I heard that phrase first in Marco Polo, but it applies here. Marco Polo, the Netflix series. Um, yeah, so it fills my heart, and one thing that I do get is that my job is to just serve, and not just this Pro Plus students, all of my students. So all 600 plus of these students. And folks, hey, there's a reason I jump on these Friday calls. This is my favorite part, to kind of be here, be there for you with whatever you need. And of course, we do more calls with our class at all levels. So folks, I'm here to serve. My goal is simple: to make you successful. That's I want to see. Yeah. Um, so that was pretty cool. So I heard a lot of stories. I did detect one thing though, and again, I connected this on my Banff vacation, which is oddly enough, believe it or not, I was talking to my the front desk clerk at the hotel, and she had an amazing story of overcoming a lot of challenges in her life, and she was there, right? She was there, and I talked to her about that, how you need to respect your story. And so I heard a lot of amazing stories from the Pro Plus students, but when I reflected back to that, I realized that a lot of them, not a lot of them, but some of them did not respect their story. And I think that makes me sad. I don't want that to be the case. I don't so there are some who have gone through a lot of struggle, but the way they came in when we were talking over the phone was on a low. Was that, hey, I've struggled and I haven't achieved anything. And again, we start thinking in these absolutes, right? So we go. It always becomes like, oh, I've done nothing, or it always never. Watch out for those words. So yeah, they're not quite respecting their story. But again, that's why sometimes kind of coaching and community helps, because you have somebody else who can look at your story and say, shut the F up, my friend. All right. I mean, you have gone through so many adversities that you're still standing. That counts for a lot. So if you feel that you are in this situation where you feel like you don't respect your story, where you feel like, oh, what have I done? What have I really achieved? Look at those people, they're the ones who are really successful. I haven't done anything. I haven't been able to. And boy, such deep stuff comes up. Like one person was talking to me was, Avi, when you said that you had this fear that your kids will go hungry, that resonated with me. And why do we yeah, I mean, and we sometimes get in this mode, right, where we feel like a failure, and at work and at home, like, oh, I haven't been a good husband, a good dad, of all of that stuff. But I don't want you to be that way. I want you to respect your story. So if you are stuck in the place where you don't feel you're in the spot, I'll share two things really quick with you. One is that, what if it was someone else's story? Maybe a close friend or a family member. Would you have the same thoughts if one of your friends, close friends, dear friends, or family member, somebody you really love, had gone through the exact things as you, and here you are beating yourself up for being a failure, let's say you're in that spot. But if it was one of your loved ones, would you be saying those things to them? I hope not. Right? You're saying, hey dude, come on man, don't be hard on yourself. Look at what you've done. You've gone through some hard stuff, but you're still here. You're still fighting. You haven't given up. That's what matters, right? So again, think about that. Think about the dialogue we would have with a close friend, but think about the dialogue we often have with ourselves. It's not the same, right? We beat the shit out of ourselves, right? So would you respect your story then? And shoot, I had another point here. Respect your story. This is a big one. This is a big one. This is a big one, guys. So think about, this isn't fully formed, so excuse my unpreparedness here. But think about Luke Skywalker when he gets his hand chopped off, right? And when I said I was unprepared, hand chopped off with his dad, right? The low point, right? And think about other low points. So think about Gandhi when he's thrown out of a train. All right, with me here. Think about Nelson Mandela when he's still in jail. So think about the low points of these famous personalities. With me here. What if your current low point is that? What if your current low point is that? It's you're the Luke Skywalker before he brings balance to the force again. You're Gandhi that leads a nation to independence, inspires a whole nation. Gosh, I don't know how many million people were there back then. And again, Mandela inspires a whole nation. And I don't know. And I have a feeling that what if you're Steve Jobs when you're fired from the company you started? Oh, that's a great one. Oh my God, that's a good one, right? What if you're that? Now, here's the thing, my friends. Maybe you're that, but if you're at that low point, if you are Steve Jobs, if you are Luke Skywalker, if you are Gandhi from Mandela, and you're at your low point, but if you don't respect your story, that change is going to happen. You're not going to bring balance to the force. You're not going to lead a nation to independence, for both Gandhi and Mandela. And you're not going to transform the IT industry, right? The tech industry, if you don't respect your story. So yeah, I'll give you these two ways. So anyway, what I was going to do was introduce you to some of these amazing people. Okay, so I made a quick sheet just for this. So of course we are kind of tracking everybody here. So folks, for one, it is so diverse and it is crazy. I didn't expect this, but there are two people from Singapore, Grace, and who else? One other person, and there's one person from India. There's Honduras. There is South Africa. There is Mexico right there. There's Canada represented. Hey, Eamon. and Seattle as well. That's great. But yeah, very diverse. And they're also very diverse in kind of their background and kind of their specific goals and kind of definitely in their motivation. It's been just enlightening to hear these stories. And there's Denmark as well. And of course, is it U.S.? It's harder to find U.S. in this crowd. Stephen, yeah, we definitely have U.S. as well. So a very diverse crowd. And you know how earlier I was talking about how our imperfections make us perfect? I certainly see that in this group dynamic where these people, including myself, we're all imperfect by ourselves, but I think we become a much more powerful force together. So folks, I'm going to be pretty focused on that. And again, hey, I'm here to serve every member. But of course, we have different people have different needs. People who wanted to enroll in this program, it's not the same as other students. Some people are just here to kind of, so I'm here to serve all of you, and we're going to continue doing that relentlessly, right? And hey, today, again, as I said, my family's here, but I'm here talking to you guys because I care. I care about each one of you, but of course, uh, we try to figure out our best way we can help everybody based on what they need help. So now we have, of course, the course. We have the pro level membership. So this is for somebody so what I say, who's either starting out in Power BI or struggling, right? Some people join this course who've been using Power BI for 3 years, but they don't quite get it. And they're like, oh, so because it focuses on the core concepts, and right, so through that program membership gives you kind of the advanced content, advanced support for Power BI, and then you have the Pro Plus, and this is basically career focused, right? So these are basically want to be kind of consultants, but yeah, mates. So I'm here. I'm here to serve, and I feel absolutely privileged to be in a position to do that. To hear these amazing stories and realize that I have a chance to be that spark, which takes their lives to a different level. Perfect. So hey, I didn't get a call in. Let me check in if there are any questions. Okay, Mukund has a question. Let's just go there, and I'm gonna hang up on the Zoom link. All right, so let's do da and all right, so let's do here and what time do we have? 10:11, and let's see what question we're gonna take. So Mukund is asking, dynamic measure. Yeah, that should be pretty easy. I'll show you an example and I'll just talk about it. So basically what you need, so let's say Mukund dynamic measures. Oops, hashtag idea like that. All right, so some of you participated in the challenge, and it was the 5-day challenge based on a real Power BI project with Kimberly Marie. And I'll just show the end result of that. Okay, course. So those who participated in it, they already know, they've already seen this. I'm going to read Mark's question. Is the original online-based class no longer available? Unable to find it. Yeah, that's a really quick question. So Mark, the course is, so the way we run the course. Actually, you know what? Let me answer Mukund. All right, it's opening up, folks. It's opening up. Okay, there we go. Hang up here. Come on, Power BI. There we go. Oh. Oh, damn. It is. Oh, there we go. Go away. Okay. So here. Oh, actually, oh boy, yeah. We didn't do this as part of the challenge. We did implement it for Kimberly Marie herself. So let me go find that, my friends. Original class folder. Okay. There we go. Week and sorry, I have to open another file. Yeah, maybe I'll take that time while that file is opening to talk about Real Power BI. So guys, Real Power BI is a key component. So yeah, so I guess I did end up waiting for another file. So so Mark, the way we run our program is we have 2 periods of open enrollment, at least 2 in a year, sometimes more, where we invite everybody. Oops. Where we invite everybody to join in. Outside of that is it's really closed. Now we do sometimes have some events where we let selected people in. So generally this is by invite only. What I would say is the best way to get on here is to get on the wait list. Oh yeah. Oh boy, yeah. Mark's asking good questions. So oh yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So so guys, yeah. Let's take a short detour. And I'll say, let's talk a little bit about the course. Mark, what is it? Mark Beaven, yeah, Mark Beaven, Mark Stewart. So, so yeah, so it's by invite only, and I'll put this link in there as well. So this is for the wait list. Now, Mark Stewart has another question, which is, hey, are we trying to have the Pro Plus members? Oops, help. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to do this. Yeah, there we go. Or general students. And yes, we are thinking about that. In fact, we're really close to implementing that. So the idea here, folks, is again that I'm only one person, and my vision has always been to create a community. And every single thing that I do has a community, right? So you know, so Pro Plus, of course, this ends up being a small group, so it ends up being, you know, by definition, a more tighter knit community. Everybody knows everybody else, and you just get to know them and get to help them and get to get help from them, all of that stuff. But we have a community at pro level as well. We have a community at the course level as well. So community is always a part of it, but they each have a slightly different flavor. Right, so we have now about 600 plus students here. The last I checked, across like 27 countries. It's probably gone up by now. And of course this group is smaller. In my vision is, well, it is going to be always less than 20. This what we're doing here, frankly, is so intensive on our side that I don't think we can do this in large groups, because frankly, so this is what we did. We are compiling kind of, yeah, we want to keep track. We want to personalize every person's journey here. So they go through the same program, but yeah, we want to know each and every one of them. We want to know exactly what their goals are, and then we want to create a plan of exactly how we help each person in this group. So I'm very invested in this group. So so that's that. But a lot of people, so 600 plus, and of course we keep getting new members, and these folks now, they're at a very different Power BI skill level, and they're not all like Power BI experts. So there are different levels, but some of them are. And of course, how do you become an expert? Helping others, basically solving problems for them in a paid basis if you can. That's a great way to become an expert. So we're thinking, and so why don't we match up these? So I'll show you the new thing that we have. Let me pull that up. So right now, the way for anybody who's in this course to get help is through our community. So they post a question there, and I try to get in there once in a while as well. But it's a pretty vibrant community by now, so I mean that's the quickest way to get help. But sometimes you're still stuck in there, and then of course we have these live events, including such as this one, where my students get to call in, and they can ask me anything they want. And we have so it's kind of open events like Talk Power BI. We also have class only events. So there is that, and then we want to create a new one, which the working title is Get Help Now. Right, so frankly, if you can get help from the community, that's going to be instant. But sometimes, it just needs a little bit more, where you need to get on the phone with them, share their screen, see what's going on, and say, go, aha. And of course, another challenge with community is that if you have sensitive data, sensitive data, then it's harder work uh, to ask in the community. You have to ask in a generic way, but then you get generic answers. Or if you try to give them a Power BI data set, you have to work sometimes really hard to kind of anonymize it or come up with an example. So some cases, and again, this is great, but some cases it doesn't work. And you can also kind of do that with live events. But now I don't do private consulting anymore. In fact, the only people who can get private consulting from me are this crowd. These are the only people who can get one-on-one time with me. So even with live events with Avi, there is a challenge of the sensitive data remains. And now, of course, there's this option. Now you can get one-on-one private time with me if you're in any of these two. And we hold days for that. We call it we block out one day and say, hey, you can book one-on-one time with me. So you can do that, but I don't want to leave you high and dry. I want to help you any way I can. So with this Get Help Now, what we're thinking is we'll match up these pro with these, and Get Help Now is basically going to be one-on-one private help. Now, it is going to be unpaid, but the way we see it is that your initial engagement with any person you contact is going to be free, but then you can both kind of discuss and decide that, hey, hey, I see what's going on for you. Well, and of course, these guys, their aim is to become an independent consultant. Some of them already are, and they just want to grow their business. So again, initial help you can get free, but then of course it would be unfair if you start kind of booking meetings with them every single day. I was like, oh yeah, I need help. So there's going to be some boundary, and I'll let you guys. I'll let that person maybe decide that. So again, this Get Help Now is gonna look something like this. And you go on this page. Oops, actually, I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna do a screenshot, and it has some mock images already. There's one real person in there, Charles Elwood, and there are others who are going to be there too. Yeah, but it's going to be something like this, and you're going to say, hey, get help right now, and yeah, you just pick a time, pick availability, and that's it, right? So let's see how it is going to work. Yeah, so it's going to be something like this. So that's what we're thinking of, and I think it's going to be extremely powerful. Now, a lot of things that I do are a beta. This is definitely a beta, and I love that. Love that with the online media. Somebody was asking me like, when are you writing your next book? And I'm like, dude, I don't know, because frankly, I love this thing so much. The book, the one we wrote, we've only done like grammatical or spelling fixes in it. It's just, and in online, I can think of this on a weekend and just have it up and running. And we're really close to having it up and running. And this, I kind of, thought of this over the holidays. So that's what we're thinking. All right, let's come back to so 10:11. We kind of lost track there, so I'm going to mark it again. 10:22. And so he's saying you basically want a dynamic measure. And let's see, what is this? Ignore. All right, there we go. So here, what you have here is now actually there are two ways to do it. And folks who participated in this Real Power BI challenge, by the way, one last thing on there. So Real Power BI is going to be a key part of this as well. And Real Power BI is simple. We ask businesses to submit projects, which we would work on that for free in a class setting, and we match that up with our students. And yeah, so that's it. So this will be coming soon. So if you are a business, and if you represent a business and you have thought about this project, which you think you can need help with, it'll be great, and it'll be a win-win. You get to get the project done for free by an expert with all the support from our community and a class and myself as well. And of course, these students, and I call them students, but a lot of them are really professionals. They have been using, some of them have been using Power BI for many years, and yeah, they're looking for some to augment or add to their real life experience. So yeah, so this was a part of that. And so those who were with us on this journey may remember that I initially tried to do this using bookmarks. Now, bookmarks are a great feature, but I remember overhearing somebody and said, "Hey, I don't need DAX anymore. I can do anything that I want in bookmarks." That's an extremely dangerous strategy and faulty. It's just, you shouldn't be operating that way. Bookmarks are great, but you need to, if you're a Power BI modeler, if you're serious about this stuff, you need to understand DAX and not use bookmarks as an alternative to DAX. So initially I tried to do it with bookmarks, and it is possible using bookmarks, but I wouldn't recommend it, at least not in this project. Maybe if there is a very simple scenario, if you have like 3 different measures. So here what we have is, so with Kimberly Murray, so again, she was a real business person. She runs a hairstyling business, and she also teaches other hairstylists. So we worked with her over a period of a month. We met every week, and we first figured out what were her key measures. We looked at her data, cleaned up her data, and then all of that stuff, and then we came up with this stuff, right? But then the next thing that we already knew, based on discussions with her, that she also wanted to see trends of these things. Now there are always different ways of doing the same thing. So this dashboard could have been visualized completely differently by showing her different trends. Just the way we ended up doing it with her was that the bottom portion showed trends, and the idea was that she would be able to select whichever one she wants to see. Now, originally, we had this idea that what if she could actually just click on total income and see that trend. Now, that something like that is possible using bookmarks, I believe. But yeah, again, I considered bookmarks, but I didn't quite like it for this scenario because it seemed to be a lot of work, and it wasn't very robust. So if something changed, one little thing changed, and like I wanted to add one more thing in here, it seemed a lot more work to add that in there. So I used the DAX approach. And in here you can see right now we're seeing the total income trend, but I can switch to total expenses. And there we go. And this is the take home pay, services income, tips income, and so on and so forth. So the technique, so I'm not going to be able to give you the complete answer. Well, I'm not going to be able to solve problems. If it was another day, we would probably hop on a call and I'll look at your data and help you through. But today I just wanted to get back to my family. So what you need here is a disconnected slicer or disconnected table. That's what is going to let you do. So what you do is this table, the selection table, is actually disconnected. So select to show this trend. Let's look at this in the relationship view. It is over here. So this acts kind of like a lookup table, but you notice that it's not connected. There's nothing filter flowing it, but it is filtering. So how is it doing that? How is it able to filter? Right. So imagine if I had something here like by client or by country, and usually they would be filtered through this, right? So that's why this is called disconnected, because it actually filters through DAX. So let me show you maybe the measure here, just to give you an idea. So calendar, select a trend graph, and where? Oh, there we go. Right. So it's basically a giant if-then-else statement. Now, of course, switch is a more elegant way to write it. So you say, oh, in this table, when they select this, then show this. When they select that, show this. So, you see how simple the concept is, right? So it's really, really simple. So try that. And of course, folks who are inside our program, we do have in the DAX module, we do cover disconnected slicer as well. There we go, disconnected slicers. So if you're inside the course,
We have our harvester measures.
Oh, okay. There's something going on here. Okay, I guess we're updating the video, some of the lessons. Cool. So that's hopefully that helps you, Mukund. Let me take one other look. Yeah. So vicious. Yeah, it's bookmarks for this one. I tried doing it, but it seemed so much work for creating bookmarks for each one of these and keeping it straight. It's a balance. I don't think, I mean, boy, I know personally, I tried it. I would never consider a bookmark solution for something like this. If there were 2 items, absolutely, sure. 3 items, maybe. But you see how we increase the complexity. I feel it gets harder and harder. There is it. Yeah, not. That was my choice, but it doesn't have to be everybody's. All right, cool. Bishus is having some great progress. Mukund is from Delhi. That's great. Bishus is hello from Greece. Woohoo, Chris. Oh, okay, Chris is your name. Hi, Chris. Mark is saying thanks. Looking forward to what happens next. Learned so much from the real Power BI course. The community is growing and is full of awesome folks with great ideas. So grateful to be part of the group. Mark, absolutely. One button is one page. Yes, I'm not sure what that means, Chris. All right, guys. So we'll call it a day. So we because we talked about work-life balance, and I love this stuff, guys. And I love this. I love hanging out with you. And again, I sometimes I have to pinch myself. And if you love your work, if you love what you do, it's not work anymore. That feeling of when you get out of bed and you're excited. And again, I mean, so again, it's a double-edged sword. So you got to be careful. I don't want to be on a vacation in Banff and thinking about work. But again, if it's a whole you, then it's all kind of blends together. And if I have a moment talking to my front desk clerk at my Banff hotel, which I can connect back to my students, and I want to come back and inspire them to respect their story, is that work? I don't know. It's not work for me. It's just me living a life, right? It's just living a life. And another thing that I believe, and you've heard me talk about this, is that not living the deferred life plan. Not living your life as a if then else statement, right? Where if this happens, then I'm going to do this. When I get a promotion, then I'm going to do this. Oh, let me work, pour myself in work for 1 year, then I'm going to spend time with my family. I think that's BS. And it just doesn't work that way. Because guys, so if you're young, you're probably starting out. I'm across 40, 2 years back. So I'm 41, 42. I have, I'm 41, I think. So I've lived long enough to know that it doesn't happen because we keep moving the goalpost. Doesn't matter what goalpost you set. Now, I remember when my goalpost was when I was in primary, was elementary school. I looked at the high school kids and thought they were so cool, and all I wanted to do was be in high school. But then, of course, when I was in high school, I would look at the college kids and like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I can't wait till I'm in college. And when I was in college, guess what? I was looking at the folks who had jobs and I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, that's gonna be the thing. I'm not gonna be dependent on my parents. Oh my god, I'm gonna get a paycheck. I'm gonna be paid. That's gonna be so awesome. I can do whatever I want. And then you get this job, and then you're looking at the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. That's never gonna change. Let's just admit it. We keep moving the goalposts, and that's okay. You know, your goal is not to, okay, I'm not going to make any goal. I'm going to be content where exactly where I am, and I'm not going to change anything. And I'm just happy being. No, that's BS too. You're going to make goals. You're going to set goals. You're going to pursue them, my friend. You're going to pursue them with all your heart, all your energy. You are going to pour yourself into those goals because they matter to you. Because that's what humans do. That is what put a man on the moon, and that is what is going to put a man on Mars. That's humanity, and we should be proud of that. But there's one thing that we missed, that we started hanging things on these goalposts. We started hanging happiness and contentment and the sense of fulfillment and the sense of self-worth. When I get a promotion, then I'm good enough. When I'm earning that much, then I'm good enough. And that is bullshit, right? That is bullshit. So yeah, so you separate those two. You are full where you are. You are worth it where you are. You got to respect your story as it is. And being in that state, then you pursue those goals. And it may seem backwards, right? It would say, no, Avi, doesn't work. That's what motivates me. But you got to make a choice. You want to live this, let this life of a void, of being something empty in here that you're seeking, and let that motivate you, or be in a life, be in a state where you're full, where you're overflowing with joy and abundance and everything else, and let that drive you. If you look at the people who are successful, right, and again, not just outwardly, but have a better life, they're who are not driven by this void. They're driven by this being state of full. And in fact, when you get full, that is when you have the courage to pursue your craziest dreams. Because the other state, it's probably you're gonna keep questioning yourself. Like, oh no, I'm not good enough. All right, so I'll leave you with that. We'll catch you next week. We are lining up some pretty cool events and speakers. We already had Grant Coco 2 weeks before talking about the crawl, walk, run, fly. If you haven't seen that, go back to our Talk Power BI archives. Just go on my channel page and check out there should be a playlist for all the Talk Power BI archives. That's a good one to watch. So we are lining up other events like that, and yeah, we're excited for the rest of this year and what we're gonna do with our students and our community. Take care, my friends. Power on.